Hey YouTube, Meef Make It here. Welcome to episode 26 of our FTB Continuum. Quick tips, tricks, and stuff. So this episode we're going to go over a couple incredibly fucking expensive machines that I've kind of been putting off. I probably should have done it a little bit earlier, but there is kind of a reason I did it the way I did it. So what we're going to talk about today is our arc furnace, and then the tier 2 void miner. So let's talk about this thing. So the arc furnace, it really isn't a complicated machine to build. But what I wanted to take a look at here, just a reminder, super easy way to build these machines is to use this projector. And if you missed it in previous episodes, easiest way to do this, get yourself the manual for immersive engineering. So it's the engineer's manual. Open this bad boy up. We're looking at heavy machinery right now for the arc furnace. But here is the materials. Now this doesn't look all that expensive, but we're looking at shit tons of steel. So if you haven't been making steel, try to keep up on this. Your reinforced blast brick. I actually cannibalized the furnace I had over there to make those. So I'm down to one source of steel, and that's over there. Works pretty well with the preheaters. It can keep up with pretty much whatever I'm looking to do. So the steel right now isn't such a huge deal. Right now it's just going to be kind of time on your hands. So if you haven't used this before, right now this is stuck on the arc furnace because that's what I set it to last. But you open it up to the page of the machine that you want to use, combine the engineer's manual with the projector, and this is what you come up with. So if we take a look at that, the projector, it'll come up with what you want to use, and then just right click, and then you can go through and start placing materials down, and this will kind of help you out. It'll kind of outline in white once you get the proper stuff in here, so keep that in mind. To get rid of this thing, just shift right click, that'll get rid of it, and you don't have to look at it anymore, so keep that in mind. So the reason I kind of put this off, there was some other stuff I wanted to take care of before I started chewing up all the materials on it, but let's take a look at this. So block of steel, and then the steel sheet metal, and then these steel sheet metal slabs are going to be kind of your expense here. The way the machine works, you have to stuff 3 graphite electrodes in the top. Now, part of this better questing, this engineer blueprint, they hook you up. So you build the machine, you get the electrodes. Now, these are kind of a pain in the ass to make. You can see I've actually got some shit in here, but the 3 in the top, these do actually burn up. Now they don't burn up all that fast, but if you're doing tons of operations with this arc furnace, you're going to have to replace these. If you enchant them with unbreaking, you get more use out of them. But let's go take a look at what it takes to make these graphite rods. And I've already got this stuff hooked up in here. So this is the blueprint that I got from completing the quest, and this is what is being made here. So it looks like it might be this easy thing to create, right? But you're looking for this HOP graphite ingot, and that's not something that I've encountered before, and I was wondering what in the hell it was that creates it. Now I totally missed it. It actually comes from the industrial squeezer. So you're looking at coke dust. 8 coke dust is going to hook you up with 1 of these graphite dusts, this HOP graphite dust, which in turn gets you a single graphite ingot. So keep that in mind. You're going to need some cold coke yet. Grind that stuff up, get it into the industrial squeezer, and then pump that out. So you don't have to really screw up your whole. If you're doing biodiesel, you don't have to screw up your whole setup with that. You pull one of these out, you put that graphite dust in here, and it comes out right in this output slot. So then you just whip some more hemp seeds back in there, and you're back in business. You probably have enough here. You don't have to worry about that. I don't think it's going to put a huge dent in your operation. But let's take a look at these graphite electrodes. So you just throw these ingots into this bad boy. Takes 4 of them. Get all 3, so 12 total. Make that work and stuff them in the top inventory of this machine. So the way this works, and it's kind of a cool machine. Let me run over here. We'll grab some dust that we can actually put into the machine. Let's do some platinum just because I have it sitting here. Actually, let's not do that. This is better in form anyway. We can do this nickel. That's not a problem. So let's check this out. So it kind of works like just a regular smelting unit. So you can see you can put some serious shit in here at the expense of these guys, and it will smelt an entire stack in no time flat. I've noticed that it seems to work a little bit better. I think it'll do 4 at a shot. I could be wrong. Let's take a look. No. So if you spread these out across the machine, it obliterates the RF, but it doesn't really matter. If you need a whole bunch of shit out of here real fast, this works pretty well. You'll notice that it doesn't seem to go as fast this way. I don't know. That was just a goofing off I did. Play with it. It's kind of cool the way it works. It's an expensive machine. I guess it's not that expensive, but it's there. The shittiest part is these stupid graphite electrodes. Let's take a look at the secondary. There's a secondary function that kind of goes along with the... Shit, I have some aluminum here. Let's go do this. There's an alloying function in this furnace as well. And I'm going to show this just because you're going to need it for the structure frame tier 2 blocks. So let's take a look at this copper ingot. The alloy is actually what you have a main here, and then you've got your alloying. So let's take a look at that. We're going to look at aluminum brass quick. Look at the ingot, and then we're going to look at the arc furnace. So we've got our main ingredient here is going to be copper, so those go on the left. And then our secondary or our alloying material is going to go in the 4 squares on the right. So 512 RF per tick for 100 ticks. Let's take a look at this. You don't have to line these up, you just stuff the shit in the machine, but you can see it doesn't really show the progress very well, so it only shows it on the single. So for every copper ingot we've dumped in here, and then the addition of our pulverized aluminum, we're getting 4 ingots out of there. So that's how that works. So the reason that we had to set this arc furnace up, usually I bypass this thing. I don't use it all that much, even though it's a handy machine. The reason that I've set it up this time is, so this aluminum brass, really this is the only way to make this. I don't have an industrial or induction smelter. I don't have any of this shit. This, I think you could probably cast it in if you really wanted to, but it's up to you. I prefer to do it this way. I didn't want to mess around with that smelter anymore because I don't have a use for it right now. I kind of want to build this machine anyway because, like I said, it is really fast. But let's take a look at this void ore miner. This is the tier 2 stuff. You're going to notice there's a significant amount of, excuse me, material that's going to change here. So you've got the controller tier 2 by itself, but then you've also got this. So you've got 32 structure frame tier 2. And right now I think you're only going to have, I think it's 24. I think I had to build 8 more tier 1 structure frames in order to get enough, because the initial one is just not there. I don't think I had to build any more structure panels, but I had to build null modifiers, another laser core, because you need 3 instead of 2. It doesn't tell you that. So this is an addition. These aren't. Some of this stuff is going to show up complete if you're following along here, but let's take a look. So we've got, let's take a look at the controller. And I'm going to do this by the mod environment tech. So you should have your controller tier 1. That should be there. You should already have that, but you're going to use that for tier 2. And this gets a little bit expensive. You're looking at 4 titanium plates and then this reinforced machine casing. So these really, you should have extras of these if you've upgraded the this bad boy over here, industrial blast furnace, in order to get these to 2800 in order to make that signal them. You should have some spares left over here. So keep that in mind. Let's look at this again. Yeah, that's really the most expensive part. So let's take a look at the tier 2 structure frame. So this is mildly expensive. You should be reusing some of this, the structure frame tier 1. Like I said, you should have, I think it's 24. So you'll have to make another 8 to get to that 32 mark. The one pain in the ass here is going to be basalt. Now, I don't have a machine to make this stuff. You can do this in the igneous extruder. I didn't build one, so I went my ass downstairs into the basement and checked around lava pits and picked this stuff up. It's pretty common. I just went down there and started bringing it up. Wasn't too tough. If you look here, you can pull this stuff up, but that doesn't really help your ass until you get onto tier 2 because, well, you need it. So either way you want to do it, if you want to build an igneous extruder, go ahead. That's an extra machine frame. I didn't do it. Like I said, I went down, I picked up lava pits. It's not that difficult. Let's take a look at the rest of this. So we already talked about the aluminum brass. You're going to need a whole shitload of those, and then in these connectors. Other than that, the other real expensive thing here is going to be this null modifier. So you need 4 of these guys. Let's take a look at that. This is going to be a whole bunch of interconnects, which really aren't all that expensive to make, but keep in mind you're going to have that black concrete to make these bad boys. So null modifier, block of diamond is a little bit expensive. It's not too bad though. And then your refined iron. So why are these things important? Well, for one, it's going to get the machine to run. But 2, you'll notice that I don't have null modifiers in this machine anymore. You're going to need it once you build it. Keep in mind, I had to move this up 1 block, this tier 2 controller, and then dump the chest on top of it. But you're going to have to move it up 1 block and then hit it with your assembler. Actually, that's in this chest here, so keep in mind, assembler, right-click that controller, and it'll build this machine for you. Just kind of stand off to the side and do its thing. Remember, you do need a 3rd laser core for this in order to get it to work. But let's talk about these accuracy modifiers. These guys, they're not all that expensive to make. I did it just to make the carbon plates. So here's your null modifiers. These get replaced. So I made 4 of them, and then I went through right away and did the accuracy modifier. And the reason I did that is you're going to see that I've got a whole bunch of bauxite shit coming in here. And the reason that is because I got a white laser lens here. So for each of these, I'm not sure what the actual numbers are. I haven't tested it, but I haven't been running this all that long, and I've got a whole bunch of bauxite here. Why is that important? Well, that's where your titanium's coming from. In order to build pretty much any of the machine frames, you're going to need shit tons of titanium. This is kind of the precursor to doing that. There are other upgrades here. So you've got speed upgrade, potion of swiftness. I don't have any of the stuff to do that right now. And I guess if you want to do the brewing stuff, I guess, more power to you. I'm not going to mess with it right now. Eventually later, I think I'm going to have to, but I'm just not going to worry about it just right now. So I've just got accuracy modifiers in there, just carbon plates and arrows. Like I said, I've been bringing in bauxite pretty regular. It works great. I'm not gonna mess with this too much. I'm gonna do enough of it to get enough titanium in order to get started on the, and it's actually gonna be this industrial grinder, and this is going to be a little bit expensive. There should be some leftovers from what I ripped down over there. Reinforced machine casing. Now, why in hell would I want to do that, you say? Let's take a look. Let's look at bauxite ore. So we've been pulling this up, and you can check this out if you want to look at ores and what these machines will pull up. There is a tier 2 for this, and I've used this as a white laser lens, which I have in there. You can see that right here. So that son of a bitch is in there. That's doing its business. But let's talk about this a little bit more. So we got our bauxite dust. We have an industrial grinder. So let's take a look at this. Our regular grinder provides 2 bauxite dust for every bauxite ore, and the crusher does the same thing. So let's take a look at the industrial grinder. At the expense of water, we're getting 4 per ore. And I think that's the way that works, and it's actually dumping out a bonus aluminum here, which may or may not be worth it. I don't know yet. I'm more concerned about producing more bauxite dust. Okay, so next machine, I'll probably show this in the next episode. Probably be the setup for the industrial grinder and pumping a shitload of water into that machine just to make that work. So 1 bucket to 1 ore produces 4 bauxite dust. Which I think is going to be a huge bonus in the titanium collection game. So keep that in mind. Kind of work on a little bit of that. Getting ahead here. Yeah, so that was the arc furnace. Use that guy, and then the structure frame tier 2 stuff for the void miner. Remember the expense on here, but just put that together. You'll be happy with it, I promise. So until next time.